Well, it is. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. So last time I was on, somebody put a comment out before or after, the way after the fact. So I'm happy to start with that. So someone asked me, what am I doing? The camera's all jacked up. What am I doing during the annual enrollment period to ensure that I spend most of my time doing what is most productive, which is running appointments, helping people evaluate their options and or change their plan if necessary. And the reality is during AEP, I mean, this is a sauce I'm going to give tomorrow. Reality is you need to outsource, aka automate or delegate everything that you shouldn't be doing. So it's either stuff that you don't like to do, stuff you're not good at, stuff that slows you down, stuff that's not a money-making activity. Now, there's two angles to that. There's money-making activities and there's relationship-building activities, and they're not always universally independent of each other, and they're not always connected to each other either. And so, yeah, a waste of time is a waste of time. And we all know what a waste of time is. It's not that hard to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, what you could be doing, what you should be doing. So yeah, this isn't about me just yapping. There's at least one person watching, so go ahead, fire away your comments, your questions, etc. I'm happy to help any way I can. Let's see. Oh, then the viewer left. All right, that's fine. That's fine. This isn't about me, it's about y'all. So I'll wait. I can drink this decaf coffee with my stroopwafel. I already ate that. So what do we think is the number one thing that we can do? Like today is Tuesday night on the East Coast, 10:15 p.m. West Coast, it's 7:15 p.m. And so the question would be, the farther west you live, why are you not grinding earlier in the day than everyone else? Like if I was on like where I'm at, when I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. or 4:30 or whatever time it is, it's 6:30 or 7 a.m. on the East Coast. And so are you really ahead of the competition? Well, it depends on where you're working. Are you working a local market? Are you working a national market? Are you trying to stay ahead of the curve? Because there's a lot of productivity between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. for me. And there's also a lot of productivity between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. for me. That's 5 hours a day that most people are going to spend doing other stuff than being productive. And being productive is not all business, okay? In the mornings, I'm making sure I get my nutrition dialed in, get my shake in, get my workout in. And you guys, you don't have to work out for an hour. There's like zero reason to work out for an hour unless that's your priority. Like if your only priority is to get big and buff and blah, 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 then your business is going to suffer. Like that's an hour a day you're wasting. You don't need to waste an hour. 15 minutes, 15 minutes is all you need. I can prove that. I'm improving that. You don't need to do excessive stuff. Same thing with your business. Like 10 to 15 minutes to get ready. Like what are you planning? What are you prepping? You're going to organize your desk. You're going to move your trophies around on your shelf. What are you going to do? Now, are you going to do actual productive stuff? Organizing your leads for the day. How many of you, be honest, how many of you have leads that you haven't worked? Haven't even touched them. Haven't even looked at them. Admit it. Somebody. Here's the reality. You don't have to admit it. I know how the average agent is. Because I've been that guy or gal, right? I've worked with so many people that have just showing me time and time again that the reality is we're all creatures of habit and we're lazy. And so your ability to find a groove, your ability to find an effective methodology is up to you. This job is really simple. It's not a job if you love it, right? Find something to do that you love, and you never work a day in your life. I've heard that cliche before. I've lived that cliche. Reality is, productivity is up to you, and you can get exponentially farther ahead simply by waking up an hour or two earlier, going to bed an hour or two later. You can do both. If you do both, you can exponentially get ahead of somebody. It's a whole half day more than everybody else is willing to work. And if you compound that over a long period of time, 6 months to a year, if you're getting an extra 4 hours a day, let's just say 5 days a week, that's 20 hours a week times 50 weeks. That's 1,000 hours. I promise you, if you do anything 1,000 hours more than your competition, you will destroy them. That's where the hard work beats talent, when talent doesn't work hard. But again, you can't do anything if nobody can do anything to stop you if you're talent that works hard. And if everybody has talent in them, the hard work and repetitions and dedication to the growth is where you're going to separate yourself. And systems and processes, fine. Systems and processes are for the average lazy agent who don't put in the hard work. You can scale a lot of things. What you can't scale is unique talent. Unique talent is not scalable. What you have to do is find unique talent. And reality is, anyone who's ever really found unique talent hasn't had to do jack squat other than point them in the right direction like a bottle rocket and get the heck out of the way. That's what you could do when you find unique talent. Outside of that, that's where the framework of discipline, repetitions, frameworks, systems, processes, all of that protects the 80% of people that don't have the discipline to put in the work or don't see the talent inside them. That's part of the magic of a good mentor and a good coach, is they pull the talent out of you. They put you not in a position to fail, but a position to succeed. And understanding who you are and what your role is part of that. And so I get asked a lot of things. And so I put a post up, and then I don't see those people saying a dang word. So let me just go through this stuff. Me, Jamie, where are you? I would say, where are you, Jamie Powell? I'm down the live side, Tony Allen, John Bennington, which makes me laugh. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Roomville AI video ads. Now, here's what I'd say. You have, John, especially John, I know you have the talent, the skills, and the presence to do your own video ads. What are you going to hire AI for? So that people align with and learn who AI is? That doesn't make sense to me. And so I wouldn't do AI videos for me. There's no reason to. I'm trying to think, what would I do? If I didn't have time or energy or effort or that I wanted to put on. But the reality is, I want agents that I'm recruiting to know me in a raw, authentic version. So what better than to spitball a bunch of lives that have no structure? If you can't tell, I've forgotten more about this business than most people will learn. I can run circles around most people, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to run circles. I'm here to give back. Like, that's the only reason I'm doing this. I'm going to give back to the people that don't have the support structure, the training. I've been around the block, right? And some say, but that's good or bad. It's good. It is what it is. Whether you've been with the same upline for 20 years or you've bounced around from upline to upline trying to find the right alignment, at some point it could be you. And reality is, it's probably them. That's what I've learned. And just because it's them doesn't mean they're not the right fit for other people. All it means is they're not the right fit for you. There's nothing wrong with that. And the sooner you recognize that, the faster you're not starting over with momentum. Because anytime you do realign, anytime you do any stuff like that, major sweeping changes on a certain level, you're starting over with momentum. And again, momentum is one of the most powerful, impactful things. It's the same thing as compounding interest. That's the fancy word for momentum. It's momentum. Inertia. Once something's in motion, Something else has to act upon it to stop it. That's you. That's you. Once you're in motion, it's easy. Once you get going, once you start doing things, think about the last time you started making dials or whatever it is. The only thing that stops you is you. Your brain telling you that I can't do this. Your brain telling you that you shouldn't do this. And the reality is the process in which you follow is the process that you create. The habits start with thoughts. Thoughts turn into actions. Actions turn into habits, and habits be turned into beliefs. Okay, and unwavering belief is one of the most unstoppable things there is. So this business is really simple, but so Roomville AI video ads. Again, I'm not saying anything good or bad about it. I wouldn't personally do it. Again, I firmly believe very quickly, if not already, so many people have AI fatigue. Like, how many of you are reading posts every single day and you're like, can we get enough of this AI crap? And everybody jumps on the thing, right? Whether it's a freaking dress for Christmas or whatever, the new sweeping ChatGPT, make a thing of me. And I'm not saying don't participate, but don't spend a whole day being consumed by something like that. It's really, really counterproductive. It really is. And the reliance upon AI, number one, AI is not even close to being perfect. AI is not even close to being right half the time, but everybody just takes it as gospel because we've been conditioned to believe that AI is the end all see all and that it's going to evolve into this a superhuman thing. It's not. There's no more of a restriction to AI than there is to you. And its restrictions are self-imposed. I've never seen anyone who has not grown who didn't stop themselves. Period. There are no outside circumstances. Everybody's dealing with it. Everybody goes through their own trials and tribulations. There's no reason to have a comparison contest. And like, comparison is the thief of joy. I mean, it only is if you're mediocre. If you're crushing on levels that others aren't, then comparison is by far not the thief of joy. Like, go ahead. Like, do you think I lose joy when I go back here and I look at all the times that I've competed at levels that most people can't? No. I've earned those. I've earned every single one of those trophies. And the reality is you get those by being disciplined, having a unique talent. And unique talent isn't just being the best of the best. Sometimes unique talent is your ability to have balance, your ability to make others feel good, your ability to work hard. Working hard is not a skill; it's a mindset. It's a simple mindset thing, and controlling the narrative is, in reality, the best thing that you can do. And so, let's talk about how do I get momentum? How do you get momentum? It's compounding small steps. A long journey is made with one step at a time. And whether you do the steps fast, slow, you can run, you can jog, you can walk. Reality is the distance is the distance. How fast you get there is determined by your will and effort, nothing else. Okay. Outside circumstances could have an effect. If it's snowing, you might walk slower, etc. But you also might walk faster because you don't like the cold. It's all about twisting how you view things, twisting your perspective, controlling the perspective. That's the mindset. Controlling your perspective. You can either tell yourself, no, I'm down and out. I'm having a rough time. You can also tell yourself, I'm not going to be held down. I'm not going to have a tough time. It's a choice, 100%. And circumstances in life lead to that. So when we talk about how to become who you're supposed to be, the first task in any journey is choosing the destination. Who do you want to become? Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? How specific are your goals? I want to write apps. That's not a goal. You got to granularly get down so you have something that you can break down from a big goal to a bite-sized chunk. Think of it like breadcrumbs leading you to the journey. And finding something like AI video ads as an example. Let me use you again, John. Can you leverage that? Yes. How should you leverage that? It's up to you. And so I would say is If you believe that AI videos are the best way for you, because here's the reality, I don't care who you are, nobody likes initially how they look, sound, and seem on camera. And even me, I go back through a lot of my videos I've done before, and I cringe. Whether it's because of my weight at the time, how I didn't realize how big I was, I didn't realize how unhealthy I looked. There's self consciousness about certain features of myself. Eventually, whatever. It's not something that I spend time on and I give energy to anymore. I'm not worried. Not ever. I'd be lying if I said I don't worry about what other people think, because image is important, perception is important, character is important, reputation. Maybe that's where your character precedes you. Reputation, and reputation can be altered. It's also the noise that other people push. And the more talented you are, and the farther you go, the more people are going to come out of the woodworks to try to stop you, to try to sabotage you, to try to say stuff. And the reality is, this is all very simple. Success is very simple. It's find what you like to do and merge it with what you don't like to do, so that you force yourself. Like, I hate most of my life hated working out, and that's what I told myself. Reality is, now I've pushed myself to new limits and levels that I actually enjoyed every day, because it's not what everybody told me it was. So the reality is, like in high school and everywhere else, go to the gym. And how many people are there for hours and hours and hours? And for what? Like, what are you going to do with all those big bad muscles, other than not be able to scratch your back, not be able to wipe your own butt, not be able to put a tie on because you think, hey, it's so stupid. Like, what are you trying to prove here? You're going to lift a car, what, once in your lifetime? No. And so practice the stuff that matters. You're getting healthy, getting in shape. Again, it's the same thing with your mind. Making massive productive movement and steps towards stuff is very simple. It's small steps every day. And so if I was an insurance agent, which I am, and I was trying to mentor somebody, first thing I would focus on is, do you have the basic stuff memorized? And memorized is knowing. And you don't have to memorize every single plan and every single detail. I like to, because it saves me time, energy, and effort on the back end. But you don't have to. Really, in reality, you have to memorize it's the same thing as, like, find the differences in these two photos, and they look identical, but there's a handful of differences. That's the reality. Compare plans by comparing the differences and memorizing the differences. If you memorize the differences, it makes the comparison part easy. And so when we talk about working a lead, per se, working a lead is no different than your ability to have a conversation with somebody and be real and authentic, be engaging, being charismatic. Like, if you're so focused on the script, there's no way your personality can come through. There's no way. Not until you get the script memorized. So if you're going to use a script, don't make any calls until you have it memorized. Don't make any calls until you've practiced the script 100 times in practice runs. The reality is, scripting is there for one reason: to create the habit. And if you're not able to digest a script and then turn it into your own, like for me, I do my worst videos when I try to use a teleprompter, when I try to use a script. Why? Because I'm so focused on not messing up the script versus focusing on just saying the information in raw form. Now, does that mean I go side to side and upside down and all that? My ADD gets all over the place. Sometimes, sure. But the term winging it, we all do that, but we don't have to. You can be prepared. You could take the time to memorize your area. What I mean by memorize your area, you don't have to memorize the whole thing. Understand which carriers you're around, which ones have strengths and weaknesses, where the angles are, and then it all becomes pretty simple. I mean, it really does. And so, when I think about how I would structure a relaunch into this industry. If I had to start all over tomorrow, the first thing I would do is take inventory of what I have. What do I got? I got time. I got money. Do I have a warm market? Do I have a cold market? And everybody has a market. It's your job to warm the market, right? So people that have a warm market have spent a lot of time nurturing relationships beforehand. It's just part of what they do. People that have a cold market spend zero time managing their network, managing their relationships. So just start there. It's very simple. If you have nothing, if you have no money and you have no time, well, then you're SOL. You got to find something else to do. Like that, there is no momentum from I got nothing. Like if you got nothing to give, that's the first thing you got to figure out is how do I free up time? And again, the easiest thing that I found is just wake up earlier and go to bed later. Sleep later. Like how much sleep do you really need? Now you're going to hear people argue. I don't use an alarm. I go to bed when I'm tired. I wake up when I'm not. That's just sometimes I get woke up, but it doesn't matter. And so you have the choice. What I used to do is unproductive things when I wake up, and I'd spend from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. doing nothing. That's productive. Screen scrolling, doom scrolling, whatever you want to call it, to the point where TikTok or whatever would tell me, "Hey, go to bed. What are you doing?" That's when you know you have plenty of time. You're just not using it, and that's the reality. Everybody gets the same 53 days in AEP. Not everybody writes hundreds of applications. Why? Because you can make up 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't work. Oh, well, I got the kids. I got this. I got that. I got the weekend. I got this. I need to do this. I need to do that. My priorities are this or that. That's a limitation on your productivity, especially when you're dealing with a time constraint, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. But what are you doing to be more productive? How can you separate yourself from others? And so what would I do if I start over tomorrow? I would start with my warm market. Whoever my closest relationships are, lean into those. And what you ask for is very important. And I wouldn't ask for referrals per se. I mean, I'm asking for referrals, but I'm going to ask for a very specific type of referral. Who do you know that has access to large groups of people? That I would like, if you're going to try to create key strategic partnership relationships, start with people of influence. Like who has influence over other people? Teachers, counselors, pastors, coaches, influencers, right? And so there's plenty of opportunity for those that want to seize the day, those that want to, take advantage. And so start with the low-lying fruit. And if you don't know any people of influence, again, you go to your warm market and ask them, which people of influence do you know? People of influence are pretty easy to get to. Now, how do you cross the bridge to turn that into a productive relationship? First thing you do is nurture the relationship to the point where you can ask. And you can ask. Like, that's all you got to do. Anybody ever told you, why didn't you just ask me? Because we're so afraid of the no, the failure, the whatever, the embarrassment, that most of us don't take the action. It's often a very simple action that'll separate you from. Think about it. If you don't want to do something, what do you think everybody else wants to do? Nothing. Most people are completely content doing nothing, me included. I am completely content doing nothing. That's the lazy part of me, the creature of habit part of me. Reality is, though, every time I've tried to do nothing for an extended period of time, summer vacation, taking a week off from work. Like if I take a week off from work, I am completely bored by day 2. So for me, it's a 2-3 day thing, unless my family's involved. And then I can find fun, productive stuff to do, but it's outside of me. And that becomes the inherent problem for most people is most people are looking for this balance thing. There is no balance. The only way you find balance is if you're willing. You got to sacrifice something to get balance. Like when you create balance, you're sacrificing success. If you create success, you're sacrificing balance. There's no way to have both. You either are growing or you're dying. That's the reality. And so when we talk about structuring your day, as an example, time blocking, like it's crazy to me how many people I say, well, how much productivity, how many apps did you do, how many appointments did you run, and whatever the number is, and it's like, okay, so what does your calendar look like? What are you doing with your time? And reality is, most of us need that structure to tell us what to do and when. And if you're running your own business, whether it's a 1099 or you're captive, like that's the sauce. The sauce is first analyzing your time. What time am I using? What time am I using that's productive? And if I'm not being productive, what things can I do to become productive? And reality is, control your time. If it's on the calendar, you do it. And I struggle with it all the time. So this is a continuous battle. It's kind of like being hungry, right? Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. It's just, it is what it is. And you got to be understanding of yourself and understand you're human, right? And you're going to relegate to lazy, creature of habit. So the reality is, if you set the habit to not be lazy, if you set the habit to avoid the lazy, that's where the big breakthroughs come through. So I'm trying to think, what else did I get asked this week? How do you frame for referral? Well, number one, offer a unique experience to the market. And how do you understand what the market's doing? Reality is, the best way to learn about your competition is become a customer of your competition. Call your competition. See what it's like when they answer the phone. What do they say? What do they do? Again, pretend. Y'all remember Imagination Land when you were little? Pretend. That's all you gotta do. Pretend you're a client. And if you're not good enough at that, then pretend that you're searching for a client. Like that's how I've done more research on doctor offices, churches, etc. Is to call. Do you know a good social media ad program? Well, yeah, you. So your ability to leverage AI is better served creating a schedule for you to put out content. A rough outline of Monday, do a video about this. Tuesday, do a video about this. Wednesday, like these lives I'm doing, John. With AI, what I do is I take one of these videos. Right now, it's at 28 minutes long. I'll then the StreamYard program has its own technology that when I'm done, I click a button and it starts putting out shorts, 30-second long videos cut from the video I just did. And then I use my CRM, which if you're using a Go High Level chassis CRM, there's a marketing tab that allows you to connect all your social medias to one thing. I click one button, upload one video, and it posts that to all platforms. So if you're wondering, where in the hell is Joshua coming up with all this time to put all this stuff out? I'm not. I carve out 20 to 30 minutes a couple times a day to do something like this, or I go back and find another video that I've done before or training, and I'm just chopping up content I've already done. And so I guess more specifically, John, what are you trying to accomplish with your social media ad program? Are you trying to get more customers? Are you trying to create a brand? What's the mission when it comes to your social media program? Because my guess is you're trying to do more clients. If you're trying to do more clients, my experience is to put a consistent, it would be a 3-prong attack that I would use. Number one, education. So don't try to educate on 10 topics at once. pick one granular point of pain. Prescription drug deductible, as an example. Lead gen. Perfect. Lead gen is hook. So you got to get someone's attention. That's the hook, right? The lure. And then you set the hook. And so when it comes to lead gen, much like fishing, we have to choose what kind of fish we want to target first. So do you want to attract T65 fish? Do you want to attract veteran fish? Do you want to attract low-income fish? Do you want to attract retiring fish? Do you want to attack police officers? Do you want to attack teachers? Do you want engineers? Like there's different pockets and types of people that typically are going to have similar personalities, likes, dislikes, etc. And so first thing I would do is choose the end result first. And just like a goal, we're setting a goal here. We're picking a target, and then I reverse engineer from there. So lead gen, be more specific for me if you can. What kind of clients do you want to get? Specifically, as specific as you can give me, the easier it is for me to guide you to what to do, for sure. Because if you're telling me I want to fish for bluegill, that is completely different advice than if you tell me I want to catch lake trout. Completely different advice than if you tell me you want to catch walleye or pike or muskie or sharks or flounders or halibut. I mean, they all are fish, but they all behave very differently. They all are on different parts of the water column. Some are like warm water, some like cold water. So there's a lot of moving parts to that. But my guess is, John, knowing you and how developed you are in your career, you're probably would lean towards a T65 fish, is my guess. And so there's a few ways to do that. Some people would use a webinar. I'm not the biggest fan of the pre-recorded webinar. If I was going to do webinars, I would do it just like I am right now, live, because I'd like to interact with the audience, connect with the audience, create a relationship with the audience. And I prefer seminars for multiple reasons. One, I've done thousands of them, and I love doing them. I love the connection with the crowd. T65, retiring, targeted local, near my house and or near my mom's house. I want to know that area, in that area, I'm the local agent. Yeah, that's perfect. That could definitely help that. So T65, today's environment, really, if you want to dominate the T65 market, I would get to them earlier. So whether that's 64, 63, 62, 61, 60, the earlier you target, the longer the pipeline to fill is, but the more rewarding it is in the back end because you have less competition. And so T65, I would focus on 2 layers for me. I would start to think outside the box, just spitballing something like, well, John, let me just put it this way. What year did you graduate high school? I'm going to guess. I'm trying to think. How old do I think you are? I don't know. You're probably 5 to 10 years older than me, I guess. I don't know. I'm probably going to make myself look stupid and or make you upset for calling you old or something. But I would guess you're close to 50. If you're close to 50, you graduated high school early to mid 90s. And I would just reverse engineer back. Like if you're trying to target someone who's turning 65 this year, their birthday would be 1961. You add 18 years to that, and it's somewhere like 78, 79. It'd be a class of 78, 79. And so for me, thinking outside the box, okay, 88, perfect. So you're a ways out for your group of friends, neighbors, etc. And so what you're really targeting is someone who graduated 10 years before you. And so how do I so the first thing I would do, if you didn't notice, most of us as we get older, at least in my experience, most of us gravitate back towards the good old days. And so if I'm trying to target John, who graduated in 1988. Like I want to try to plug into everything I know about 1988. And so if I was going to create video content, whether AI or myself, and I wanted to target people that graduated high school in 1988, I would Madonna, Michael Jackson, Pepsi versus Coke, like Cindy Crawford. I mean, there's a lot of angles in that 80s, early 90s range that people get really sentimental about. right? And so as we make this transition, as an example, from the tail end of the baby boomer population and we get into Generation X, we have to understand that that's a different fish. And so even though now we're targeting T65 fish, T65 fish, so a walleye in Lake Michigan behave differently than walleye in Lake Carter, Colorado. And so now we have this difference of understanding not only what generation they came from, but I would start targeting several things. But one of the easiest things you can start doing is targeting class reunions. They're sponsoring class reunions. They're very cheap to sponsor because nowadays not very many people go to them. But it doesn't mean, like, if I were to get into a class reunion and there's 12 people there, all 12 of those people are still connected to all the other people that they graduated with. Whether or not those other people came to the reunion or not, most of them nowadays are all connected on social media. They're connected some way, somehow. And so the idea is to get to the person of influence in that pocket. And so the people of influence is who I'm targeting. So again, if I'm targeting a 1978, 79 graduate, like what was going on in the late 70s or the 80s, Ronald Reagan became president right after that. We have Carter. We have a lot of moving parts in that time frame. Whether it's pop culture, whether find some kind of niche that you have a passion about. So if you love music, then talk about music. If you love sports, then deal with sports. If you love whatever your passion and love is, that you want to be authentic in that in your video content. So again, if I'm targeting T65, I'm going to try to figure out where in that late 70s, early 80s can I really get behind and have fun with. Because the video content and I would do video, I would do pictures. Canva is one of my favorites. So I leverage a lot of AI technology, but most of it's for content creation on the basic side. So to create images and whatnot. As far as video content, I really believe that humanality is going to be the new currency very soon. Like I said, I think that people are burnt out on the AI stuff. And so targeted local area. I'm going to use a concerted campaign. And so webinars are powerful. Seminars are powerful. Webinars are by far more cost effective. But typically to get a webinar full, the normal strategy right now is to use Facebook ads and have a big old target area. So multiple states and all these other things, or the whole state. And that's the opposite of what you're trying to do if you're talking about a targeted area, local, near your house. And so if you're going to own the 5 to 10 mile radius in your house, I would have a bunch of educational stuff. I would record. So webinars are wonderful because you now have, if you record them, you have a big pile of content that you can use AI to chop up into shorts for you. Where you used to have to spend a bunch of time doing video editing and cutting. And I mean, I really enjoy that stuff, but it's so time consumptive. It's super time consumptive. But a simple program like CapCut, download CapCut for desktop, even something like StreamYard, what the technology I'm using right now, again, at the end of this, I click a button and it starts chopping the video up and creating the shorts for me. And then it's just a matter of consistent pushing stuff out. So that people over time, think of it like a bus stop or a billboard. Like very few people have made a purchasing decision based off of the bus stop or billboard. Same thing with videos on YouTube, etc. Most people are going to make effective transitions when they start to really connect with their audience over time. And so there is it's the billboard effect is what I call it. And so people seeing your face over and over and over again, hearing your voice over and over and over again, it's the celebrity effect. A lot of time when people meet a celebrity, they feel like they know them, and the celebrity's like, I've never seen or heard of you before. And so it's a really weird, awkward situation. But with this kind of thing, with consistent pushing out of content, you can target local stuff with ads and things. But the reality is, what I would do for that thing, John, I would focus on joining groups on Facebook that are aligned with your likes, hobbies, interests. And so my guess is if like out where I'm at in Fort Morgan, Colorado, I just joined, I think it was Morgan County, blah, 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 blah group. And so there's a bunch of groups on Facebook that are targeted local communities that you can't just jump into and start advertising because then they're like, ew, get away from us, right? But what you can do is jump into these groups that you have, like a fishing, like for me, golf, fishing, basketball, like Facebook knows what I'm into. And so I go around and I join groups that they're yesterday, I just joined a Dallas Fort Worth golf community group. I am not in Dallas Fort Worth maybe twice a year. But I was able to answer their questions. One of the questions they asked me is, what's my favorite course in the area? Nate Alford will laugh at this, but I put Stonebriar, and that got me in the group. And now I'm engaging with posts, and I'm participating in the golf stuff, talking with other people, making comments, not trolling, just spreading positivity and gassing people up and cheering them on. And over time, I'll build myself as a presence. Another one of my favorite things to do is find groups that might, like, if you're not adding every single one of your clients on social media, that's one of my biggest things that I try to feed my Facebook and feed my Instagram and feed my TikTok with my client lists. Okay, you can import your contact list and it will search out to see who's got profiles tied to that email, tied to that phone number. And then what you start doing is figure out what groups they're in. Because there's nothing more effective than me joining a community group and then having 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or however many of my clients endorse me. Because all I got to do now is spend time building up my visual self and presence. And then once I've established myself, it's just no different than developing a referral partner in person. You spend time developing the relationship first, planting roots, nurturing the tree. I think of it like a little a seedling. And I nurture it up to full growth. Then I start to worry about the productivity of the crop. And that's when I don't say anything for the first while. If someone goes, who knows someone about insurance? What I'll do is I'll go to one of my clients and say, hey, someone in the groups asks about insurance, but it's often weird if I'm the sales guy jumping out on the first opportunity. It sounds desperate, feels desperate, looks desperate, but it's not desperate if one of my clients or 3 or 4 or 5 of my clients go into that post and say, oh my gosh, you got to talk to Joshua. Oh my gosh, you got to talk to Joshua. And it's so I would use a combination of Facebook groups. It's no different than all these Facebook groups that you're in for Medicare agents. Think how, John, I would bet you if I looked, you're probably in every single Facebook group there is about Medicare agents. And what are you doing in those groups? You're extraculating value, you're doing other things. Are you really taking time to participate? Are you really taking time to make a name for yourself and educate and help and all these other things? My guess is you are. And it's probably paying off. If you were just to switch that model over to the local groups focused on like the target market, like your mom. I don't know what your mom enjoys doing, but if she loves knitting, then dang it, I would be going over to her house and I would be recording content of my mom knitting, and then I would join as many freaking knitting Facebook groups as I could in that area in Nantucket, or I think you're up in the Northeast somewhere, Maine or somewhere last time I saw. But I would be joining all these groups, and then I would, if I don't have knitting content, I'd be posting my mom and gassing my mom up. And then over time, people will be like, oh, how sweet. John's pumping up his mom and gassing up his mom and blah, 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 blah. And then over time, the transition is very natural, very, very natural. Webinars, good question. I've already talked about it a few times, Michael, but webinars are fantastic. So for me personally, I don't like the pre-recorded crap. That's such a salesy, weird, cryptic. Like it's kind of like going and watching an infomercial. Like I don't know. I guess if you're really good at the presentation, it can be effective. But for the average agent, they don't have the on-camera skill sets and the charisma to be engaging and attractive in a webinar setting. And so I like webinars. Personally, I would do them just like I'm doing right now. I would not do a scheduled thing where people have to do anything. Maybe some kind of registration process. But the reality is people will come and gravitate to you if you're providing value and good content. So I like webinars. I just like the live stuff myself. But yeah, a combination of webinars. Now, how do you advertise those webinars? I would be using those very same groups I was just talking about to advertise my webinars. I would be going around the community to the financial planners, to the churches, to the breakfast places, and I would be spreading the word about my webinar or about my seminar. And I would be using that as a in-the-door message. I would have a flyer, a piece of paper that advertises my webinar, seminar, or both. Probably the same piece of paper that you're paying someone else to mail out to all these people that you could just go talk to. And so it's whatever you want to do. So you either have sweat equity, you have cash equity, or both. or neither. And so I would leverage all of the above. I would dominate the 5-mile radius within my house. And you, again, if you need to, just keep expanding. Like out in Fort Morgan, there's about 42 people in Morgan County that turn 65 a month. Even if I got them all, for me, that's not enough for the goals that I have as far as an agency, et cetera. And so for me, it's more about owning the 125-mile radius from my office as much as possible. And the reality is I can't. And so that's where recruiting a team comes in for me. But if I'm just going after clients, again, Facebook groups, post consistently on not advertising content, education content. And the best way to break down education content could be, Michael, doing one of those pre-recorded webinars and then using AI to chop that webinar up into shorts that are educational in nature, and then just relentlessly pounding that information over and over and over again to the local community. Again, in the local Facebook groups, tied to the local people that have likes, interest, and hobbies that are in alignment with you. So if you love cars, do cars. If you love fishing, do fishing. If you love basketball, do basketball. If you love golf, do golf. If you love multiple channels of that, I would then focus on a blanket search where I'm doing the stuff I don't want to do, but it's fun because it's in alignment with one of my hobbies. And so I think that's probably the best advice I can give is, long-term care. That's a really easy transition. Long-term care allows you to go into facilities to spread the word. And the reality is you don't go into the long-term care facility to get the clients that are at the long-term care. You go into the long-term care facilities to tell people about what problems you solve. And the ideal thing is you get their friends, family, neighbors, et cetera. So I'll give an example. Early in my career, once I hit the field, I spent a lot of time, and I, to this day, have relationships with, well over 50 financial planners. And what ended up happening, and same thing with food banks. In the beginning, I said yes to every single food bank. And so when I hit the field, June of 2018 to December of 2018, there was 17 food banks that I was at every month. It's like 4 or 5 days a week. I was somewhere in this state of Colorado, standing in a cold parking lot, because most of that time frame was in a cold parking lot, just standing there doing nothing. And it took me a while to realize I had to engage with people in order for them to know who I am and what I do and how I do it. And so honestly, what ended up happening is the same effect, whether I was at the financial planner or whether I was at the food pantry or bank. And what ended up happening is first clients I got were the staff. And so at the financial planners, I'd get the gatekeeper and their mom, their dad, their uncle, their brother, their friends, their neighbors. I would get them first because, again, when you're doing this stuff, you got to pitch the gatekeeper first. You got to get them on your side first. And so what would happen? And the same thing with the food banks. I didn't get any of the people in the parking lot that were coming there to get food because I was doing it wrong. I didn't know it. And so I thought logically, hey, I'll set up my table. Everybody's in line. They go through the line to get their food and their box of food. And at the end, I would be sitting there. It took me a while to figure out that I was at the end of the line. And when these people, they were standing in the cold parking lot too. And by the time they got to the end with their food, they just wanted to get the heck out of there. And so I was putting myself in a position to fail because I was at the end of the line. So I talked to the staff, made friends with the staff. I wrote almost every single volunteer that was old enough for Medicare in every single one of those parking lots, because what I found was it was a consistent audience. And with a food pantry, typically that's the negative of a food pantry is you can go there every single week, but generally speaking, unless someone moves away or moves in, it's the same people every single week. And so first you get the staff, the volunteers, etc. And then after they learn who you are, what you do, they'll do the word of mouth work for you if you train them. So you just got to train them what to do. And so that's the model I would do, John, to take over my market. That's what I did. That's what I would do again right now if I had to start over, is I would start with a small radius of where I'm at, do as much as I can, volunteer for as many things as I could, plug into as many resources as I could. I would pick multiple churches in the beginning, land in one, but become known throughout town and your area, and become known for being the nice person, to being the giving person, to being the fun, energetic, charismatic person. That's what I would start with. And then once I've established those relationships, I would then just start listening for points of pain. And when I hear a point of pain, I would try to solve it. Because all you got to do is find one point of pain. And I got this idea early in my career. I did food pantries, I did financial planners, and I did low-income lead drops, which low-income lead drops aren't very effective anymore because that market's been ruined. But the first drop I did, I got one freaking lead out of 2,000 piece mailer. And back then, I think it was like $350 for 1,000. So sorry, everybody is paying $700 nowadays. Inflation is a motro, and I apologize in advance. But so the first drop I did, I got this lady, and she wasn't even a lead in my mind. When I got on the phone, I was like, oh my gosh, I just wasted my money, because what she had was a claim problem. And so I helped her solve that claim problem. And by doing the right thing, she ended up telling the nurse case manager of one of the largest doctor groups in Northern Colorado. And you know who they are, John, because you used to be in Arizona. It's Banner Health. And so now in Northern Colorado, Banner Health literally uses me unofficially, because it's a corporation. If you were going to any Northern Colorado Banner Health facility and ask questions about Medicare that they couldn't answer, because I train them all every year, I do a presentation for all every year, but they would then hand you my card if you're in a situation where there's a point of pain. I trained them. People that have prescriptions that aren't covered, doctors that aren't covered. Again, you list out the points of pain, have people listen to them and for them, and then when they hear them, they send them to you. Let's see. I have planned next week. Let's see. Let me see here. I have planned next week to go to all the local businesses and start talking, maybe drop off some cookies and business cards. Well, I would take it one step further, Michael. Schedule your first webinar. I would do it live personally, because again, that's where you can really be tied into local. You can make it custom on the audience. But while you're going out in the community and handing out cookies and business cards, also hand out a flyer for, hey, I'm doing a Turning 65 educational presentation on whatever day. And try to get those people of influence to show up. Try to get the financial planner's office, even the gatekeeper, to show up to that. And the doctor's office. And I would go to the local breakfast place. A very effective thing in the breakfast place is to buy everybody's coffee who's over the age of 50 or something. You can't single them out for Medicare because the rules we have to follow, but you could certainly create your own senior discount and subsidize everybody's coffee that morning or whatever. You can also go to, like, one great book that I still think has tons of gold. Shout out to Rebecca Davis. I forget what the heck it is. It's like the 100 grassroots ideas or something. She has a book on Amazon that has 100 grassroots ideas, and one of them in there is go to the coffee, your local Starbucks, your local Scooters, your local whatever the heck chain you have for coffee. Give them $100 and tell them, hey, pay for the next 10 people's coffee, and here's a stack of cards. Just tell them I got it. Now that's a very rudimentary example, and the reality is you have to do that a lot to get some momentum. But business cards are cheap, and so first thing I would do is I would level up my business card game, and I would stop handing out business cards, and I would switch to business card magnets. When I made that change, it's made an immense change in what I'm doing. Magnets are much easier to keep without losing, and so I'd spend a little bit more. I would have magnets, and yeah, I would definitely go that direction. Coffee talk. Not even a coffee talk. I would just, honestly, I would make it an official event at a coffee shop. I would just show up, and I would just be lingering, watching the line, and anybody that looked even remotely close to old enough for who I was after, I would just immediately run up there and say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? I would love to buy your coffee this morning. I'm on a mission to buy people's coffee. And it's just thinking creatively outside the box versus turning it into a sales process, turn it into a relationship building process, and building up what I call reciprocation obligation. And that would be the sauce that I would go after. And so, finding a key anchor event, so a seminar, webinar, combined with a grassroots style campaign to take flyers around and introduce myself to the community, maybe give back a little bit, volunteer. Don't volunteer with the purposes of gaining referrals. Volunteer because you want to volunteer. And over time, people seeing you doing the right thing on a long period pattern will eventually build up trust enough that when the conversion happens, when the opportunity comes, it doesn't feel salesy. It doesn't feel transactional because there's too many agents out there that have already, whatever you're thinking of, the coffee shop, the business, the financial planner, the doctor's office, it's already been completely ruined by some jackwad agent who just went in there for a transaction, pissed everyone off, lied to them, didn't show up, whatever it was. And so we have to assume going into it that I'm going in behind someone who did a terrible job, which is both difficult and easy. It's difficult because now I have the precedent that they're going to loop me in with them, but it's also easy to separate myself from them and show them that I'm different. And well, here's why. So yeah, I mean, I would, hopefully that's the sauce. I mean, I've been on for an hour now, 55 minutes, which is worth, I don't know, $5,000 to me. And so hopefully if both of you, so right now I basically have two people and then one unknown person who's not commenting or asking questions. Hopefully you're getting value too. But John and Michael, if you just take that and run with it, that very simple thing of owning the 5 to 10 mile radius around you, doing the Facebook group, joining as many of those groups as you can, participating on an organic level. Again, don't join the knitting group if you have nothing to do with knitting. It does you no good. You're an imposter. One last thing. I'm doing a few health fairs locally, and we're having a 3-day festival next month. I'm signed up for them. Yeah, make it fun. So renting a dunk tank, creating a game of some kind, prizes. People love prize wheels, and you don't got to call your carrier reps, tell them you're doing that event. Say, can I get some swag? I don't be very, very unspecific. Anything you got, I'll take anything. Band-Aid holders, knickknacks, glass cleaners, cloths, whatever they got. I'd take whatever they got and turn those into prizes. Get some candy in a bowl. Have a prize wheel. So you can get a prize wheel right now on Amazon for like $12. Spin the big prize wheel, Monty. Everybody loves to win, even if it's something stupid. One of the best lessons I ever got was in high school. I worked at Kmart on the weekends, and very quickly, this is where I learned I'm a good salesman, because what they told me to do at first was, instead of being able to be a checker, I had fun being a checker. Something about boop boop was a game to me. How fast, because they would track how many scans per minute, and I always wanted to have the fastest scans per minute. But eventually, they sat me at this stupid card table. They would tell me at the beginning of my shift, get a cart and go back to the soda aisle. And back then, 2 liters of soda were 99 cents. Tells you how long ago this was. But I would get a whole cart full of 2-liter bottles. Fanta, Mountain Dews, Pepsis, you name it. Okay. And then I would sit at the table at the front, and they would ask me to have people fill out a credit application for a Kmart credit card. I set the freaking record across the country for the most credit card applications in a month, because once I figured out that the game was get people to all I had to do was get them to fill out the form. They didn't have to get approved. Okay. But you wouldn't believe how many people would take a freaking credit hit and a hard inquiry on their credit for a 99-cent free, because I had a sticker, bam, and my power was putting the sticker on that 2-liter that said free. And so if they had that free sticker on it, when they got to the checkout, they got the 2-liter for free. And I got dozens and dozens, and eventually I got to where I was getting 50 a day. Sitting at that table, I get 50 people a day to give me a credit application. Heck, some of them I got them to do it 3 or 4 or 5 times in a month. Same person, fill out the same damn application over and over. I'm assuming they got declined every single time. But again, that's an example of putting myself in a position. So that's how I would do at a fair. You've got to be engaging. You got to be attractive, right? If you were to go to a fair, first thing I would do at the beginning of the fair is walk around and see what my competition is. What is everybody else doing? Who has games? Who has food? Giving away, like even something simple, like bringing a grill and just grilling hot dogs and handing out free hot dogs. You can get even hot dogs now for cheap. You can do the Bar S hot dogs. And you can get, I think, 8 of them for $1 or $2 still. And so you can get a bunch of hot dog buns, hot dogs, a couple of bottles of ketchup and mustard and mayonnaise and whatnot. You can either do a burger fry, you can do a hot dog fry, anything to get people to come to your booth long enough to have a conversation. Because the reality is that's all a fair is about. That's all it's about, is you to get in front of people so they can get to know, like, and trust you. and then they know who you are, what points of pain you solve. So again, don't say, you got to practice. If someone says, what do not say, I sell Medicare. I'm a Medicare agent. That's terrible. That's the worst thing you could say. You might as well say, I have lupus, or I can't think of some terrible infectious disease that's contagious. I have COVID active or whatever. That's basically what you're saying. So what you want to do is be attractive, and then make sure when someone asks you what you do, you talk about the points of pain you solve. I help people make sure that the prescriptions are covered when I get to the pharmacy. I help seniors make sure that they get enough benefit. Some of them even get food. Some of them get this. You got to learn to describe who you are and what you do by the points of pain that you solve, so that people understand when they hear those points of pain, they think of you. And that's the whole idea behind this. I would have magnets instead of cards. I would have a full pledge campaign. I would have a seminar or webinar to invite all these people to at the fair, at the doctor's office, at the whatever I'm doing. And I would own that 5 to 10 mile radius outside of my office or home. And once I've got that down, I would then just keep expanding my territory in 5 mile radiuses. 5 miles at a time for most people that are in metro markets is all you need. And lots of agents I know, that's all they do. They do the first 5 or 10 mile radius, and then they're done. That's the extent of the expansion of their empire. And for a lot of agents, that's enough of that over time compounding, where you own your area. It's really unstoppable. And so, yeah, my pleasure. Hopefully everybody got some value out of this. I just dropped some heat. Can't wait for AI to chop this thing up into some shorts. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'll do it during the day. I'll do it during the night. I'm doing an official training tomorrow. So if I don't see Michael Cantrell and John Bennington on my 3 p.m., like you've been staring at the damn link at the bottom of this the whole time, to either get on the Zoom and register, or go to that mmfactory.pro/training-setup. You do that and you click yes, then you're going to get all the notices from me about every Zoom, every Burp Camp, every workshop, every event. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff coming up right now through the end of OEP. It's really just about the Zooms, because I'm working with my team and helping them. But once we get past April 1st and the stuff slows down, I'm going to go heavy, hard in the paint, helping everybody get ready for AEP. Because if you don't start getting ready for AEP now, you're behind everybody else who is. And so thanks again for your time. We will see you in the next live. Please participate, and do me a favor. Share your experience with others about what it's like to be on this stuff, because I'm on a mission to help people and change this industry one agent, one client at a time. That's my mantra. One agent, one client at a time. If I can get people going in the right direction, doing the right thing, it's going to save us all a job. If not, if you didn't notice, our job's in jeopardy because there's too many jackwads out there making a bad name for us, doing the wrong thing, trying to push extra product and all this other crap that I see out there that just makes me sick to my stomach. Like, I get it. We're all trying to make revenue. We're all trying to make our client more sticky and increase retention and all that. But you can do it the right way. You can do it with ethics, morals, and treat people like your mom. Like, John, I love when you said near your mom. Like, if you're not leveraging the hell out of your mom, and reach out to me directly on how you can do that. It's my mom sold more policies than most agents because I use her in every single conversation, every single one, including the person I helped today move a conservative portion of their money into a safe money concept that helps her, helps everyone, and helps me. So thanks for tuning in. We will see y'all soon. Hasta pasta.